Good evening. I'll call to order the Arvada City Council meeting for August 21st, 2023, and call upon Councilmember Lauren Simpson.
Please join me in a moment of reflective silence. And now please join me for the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Kristen Rush, if you'll do the roll call.
Mayor Williams.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Jones.
Here.
Councilmember Foray. Councilmember Pfeiffer.
Here.
Councilmember Marriott.
Here.
Councilmember Mormon. Councilmember Simpson.
Here.
Mr. Pfeiffer.
I'd like to make a motion to excuse Councilmember Foray and Councilmember Mormon from tonight's business meeting.
Thank you. All votes are cast. That passes 5-0. Mr. Mormon and Ms. Foray will be excused tonight. Next, we have the minutes of August 7th, 2023. Any changes or corrections? Seeing no request for any, they will stand approved as presented. Next, I'll turn it over to Mayor Pro Tem David Jones.
Thank you, Your Honor. I have the distinct honor and privilege of recognizing an individual in the audience here tonight that has done something absolutely amazing. Let me tell you a little bit about it. It's the National Civics Bee. It's a new annual competition that encourages middle school students to engage in civics and contribute to their communities. The U.S. Chamber of Commerce launched the National Civics Bee in 2022 with pilot programs in 5 states and expanded it to 9 states, including Colorado in 2023. In Colorado, the Chamber of Commerce in Arvada, Buena Vista, Craig, Denver, and Pueblo all held local competitions earlier this year. In order to participate, 6th, 7th, and 8th grade students from each area wrote essays about a civics problem that they wanted to solve in their local communities. Judges selected the top essays for each area, and those students participated in a live quiz program at a local level. Each area then sent 3 finalists to the Colorado State Civics Bee, where they once again completed in a live quiz program, which included questions about topics such as our government, our Constitution, our historical events. The students also had to present their essays to the judges, who then asked them questions about their proposed solutions. Ram from Drake Middle School, one of the finalists at the Arvada Civics Bee, took first place at the Colorado State Civics Bee held on May 19th in Denver. And we're here to congratulate Ram for your willingness to be a part of such an amazing program and really to spearhead it here in Colorado. And you'll always forever be known as the first winner of the Civics Bee in Colorado. So if you'd like to come up, I'll present you with your plaque. And this says, in recognition for winning first place in the 2023 Colorado State Civics Bee, presented this 21st day of August, right here at the podium, 2023, signed by the mayor and all members of council.
And Mom, you can certainly come up front to get a better picture angle if you would like. I had the good fortune of being one of the judges when Ram was in the competition and knew that he was going to do well at the state competition.
State and the local, it was the lack of civility in our country right now. And I proposed solutions such as like debate clubs in middle school, not just high school, so people know how to present their ideas in different ways. And just like people being nice to each other so we can understand different perspectives, no matter where people come from or like what they know.
That's awesome.
Great. Mr. Marriott?
Yeah, I just wanted to make a comment too. I also was very privileged to be able to judge both your essays before your competition, and I want to congratulate everybody who took part in it. It was quite impressive to read what all of you had to say. Yours particularly stood out, and it also surprises me not at all that you won this competition. I just want to say congratulations. That's a great big honor and a great accomplishment, and keep it up. You have a very bright future in front of you.
Thank you.
Ms. Simpson?
Thank you. I just want to echo the sentiments of my colleagues. Congratulations, young man. You've made the city proud and the school district proud. Thank you. And we look forward to having you up here with us one day.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Congratulations. Mr. Archer, you're going to give us an update on how we're doing financially.
That's a tough act to follow.
Yes. Be civil.
Thank you, Mayor and Council, for the opportunity to present tonight. Deb Nielsen and myself are going to tag team the mid-year financial update. So we'll go ahead and get started. Revenues are slowing, but we're still a little bit ahead of budget, so that's the good news. Operating expenditures remain in line as the department heads and their team members are doing a wonderful job managing expenses and still delivering services. But as you well know, inflation has been and continues to be pressure. CIP is a challenge. We're hoping that this slows down a little bit. I know Council did talk about this just at their 5 o'clock session, starting to see some bids come in that are a little bit better. We hope that continues. And certainly, recession fears are building. So if you remember when we gave the year-end presentation back in April, we talked a lot about this. And so finance likes to sometimes tell jokes. I don't know if you'll get this one, but we feel a little bit like Chicken Little, but we're hoping we're more like Nostradamus as we move forward. So
I was wondering what that was going to be when I did my review of this packet.
What we're going to show you right here is recession probability from the Wall Street Journal. And Beacon Economics is a very large economics firm that does calculations based upon future probabilities, and they're the lower line. And so you can see that they don't feel like within the next 12 months that we're going to enter a recession. But Wall Street Journal, yes, Ms. Simpson.
Apologies, looking at the dates on this, it's July 2021 through July 2023. So that's the past 12 months.
Correct. So in essence, I apologize, I did not explain that very well. That is in each month what they thought the probability was of going into recession in the next 12 months.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thank you for that clarification. As Wall Street Journal interviewed CEOs across the United States, they represented what their feeling was going into recession. So we've actually pulled back a little bit, which is good news, but we're still at greater than a 50% chance from a CEO's perspective. What are the headwinds? We talked about this the last time. At our presentation in April, we talked about the 2 and 10 inversion. And since then, this has only gotten worse. And so if you remember, 5 out of the last 6 recessions, the 2 and 10 inverted, and a recession happened within 18 months. Since this inversion, this first happened last year, we're now in month 16. And so from an average perspective, we're 2 months away. Do I think we're going to go into a recession in the next 2 months? I do not, but historical data says that that's very likely. Inflation has pulled back. That is good news. Last reading was 3.2%. Again, the feds are pushing towards 2%. That's where they want to get. I don't know if we'll get to 2%, but we're heading that way. That's good news. We've talked a lot about debt the last time. Credit card debt, auto loan debt, those continue to rise. One item we did not put on this was student loan debt, and that is also up significantly. As you well know, starting in September, we will start paying interest again on student loan debt. That will become a big issue as the fall moves on. And then savings rates. So those numbers were down at historic levels just a couple months ago. The consumer has started to save a little bit more as a percentage of disposable income. We're not quite back to the average. The average is just over 6%, but we are moving in that direction. Hopefully this turns from a headwind to a tailwind in the next few months. And then we have our 2 big tailwinds, one being unemployment. As you can see, the Fed unemployment rate's about 3.6%. Arvada did tick up a little bit from 2.8 to 3.1. That is still very, very low historically. Right now, for every one person looking for a job, there's approximately 1.6 jobs available. It may not be the job you want, but it is available. And then our largest tailwind and the most important to us here at the city is, because we're sales tax based, is personal consumption. That continues to grow month over month. Any questions on our recession headwinds and tailwinds?
Don't have any questions at this point.
We'll continue. One of the performance measures that we like to show you every month is where we are with the council required fund balance goal of 17%. That's the green target, and we now are currently sitting at about 52%. That is a very good war chest to have. Remember, that is a point in time. That does not include our 10-year budget and does not include any of our future expenditures. That is only compared to today. But again, still a good place to be. I'm going to ask Deb to come up and talk about the general fund overview.
Okay, okay. Just an overview of the general fund. We have a monitor on property tax. It's trending just slightly above last year. We do expect it to meet budget, but we will continue to monitor that. Auto use tax and general use tax are both down a little bit from last year. We are continuing to monitor that. Auto use, we do expect that to meet budget at the end of the year. Excuse me. And we'll go into that a little bit more. Court revenues are down from last year, so we are monitoring that. Just want to remind you that that is not a revenue generating area for the city, but we do continue to monitor that. Interest revenue, with the interest environment right now, we are monitoring that as well. On the expenditure side for the general fund, personnel expenditures are trending where we are expecting to see them. We do have a monitor on other expenditures, as Brian talked about. We are seeing, costs increasing, so we are continuing to monitor that area as well. As far as sales tax, overall sales tax is positive. We're up 6.2% over 2022. We have a monitor on a few things and some negatives on some others, which we will jump into in the next few slides. But wholesale shopping is a monitor that is just slightly down from last year. Full-service restaurants have seen a decrease, along with hardware stores and liquor stores. So jumping into...
Mr. Marriott?
Can you go back 2 slides? I'm sorry, I was going to wait for you to get to a break, but I wanted to ask you a question on this slide,
Yes.
particularly with the property tax line on this slide. So we've got a monitor on it. I assume that we are going to meet our expected property tax revenue.
Yes.
So the monitor is not because we're afraid we're going to fall
No,
short.
it's just right now it's just trending above
Right.
2022.
Okay, so
we do expect to meet our expected revenues there.
Got it. Okay, so a couple questions. So our property tax revenue, if I'm correct, is somewhere around $5 to $6 million annually. Am I correct about that?
Yes.
That's in the ballpark. Okay. And have we yet taken a look at, with the new assessments that were mailed to everybody this year, about what the effect on our property tax would be, or is that part of next year's budget?
It will be
when we
part
look
of,
at that?
we are monitoring that.
Okay.
We have not gotten the preliminary assessments yet from the counties. So we are continuing to monitor that. And we will bring that back when we have that information.
Okay, so you probably have heard, as I think most people are feeling, that they're, seeing property valuations of 20, 30, 40% up. I forget what the average in Jefferson County was, but it was sneaking up on 40%, somewhere in that range, which would yield, of course, probably about 40% net property tax increase to each individual that pays property tax in our area. And I would assume then would also net a 40% increase or thereabouts in our revenue from property tax. Okay. So I want to make sure I was thinking correct on those points. I just want to throw something out there for us to think about as a council as we go forward. We're in a unique position here with an issue on the ballot this fall that may or may not pass that may have a small effect on that property tax, the property tax that people pay and that we collect. But people are going to see dramatic increases in their property tax with these next bills that we get in February, and that I would like us to, at some point, have a discussion in council about potentially not taking that whole windfall that the city may see from that property tax. I think we have the ability, and I think new state law gives us the ability to temporarily lower our mill levy and be able to raise it in the future without a vote of the people. I believe that's the provision that was made. And just, I would like us to at some point have that discussion. Granted, property tax that comes to the city of Arvada is a small slice of the property tax people pay. But I think an action like this would be more than just symbolic. It would potentially help people, especially those who are most vulnerable to financial difficulties, to have their property tax somewhat reduced, while the city still takes in what we would normally budget for, but just that we forego or build that windfall in over time and give some property tax relief to the citizens of Arvada. So anyway, I just want to put that out there for us to talk about at some point in the future, and encourage you guys to watch those numbers and those predictions as we go forward, so that we could talk about that in a time that would be timely, so that if the council were to decide to take action, we could. Okay, that's all I have. Thanks.
Ms. Simpson?
Quickly, to follow up on this idea, Mr. Archer, what is the approximate property tax for the city, the increase we're expected to see?
So in our budget, we're only budgeting a 4% increase. We haven't calculated what the reference that Councilmember Marriott is speaking to because of the uncertainty of this fall.
Okay.
And so ultimately, if we were to project the numbers that they provided us, it'd be a little over 20%.
Okay, 20%. And then per household, what does that translate to in real dollars per household?
From the city's perspective or from the overall perspective?
From the city's perspective.
Okay, so the city receives 4.31 mils. The average homeowner pays just over or just under 90 mils, not including the ones that are in metro districts. So we get about 5% of your overall tax bill. If you are the average person in Arvada, you have an average home of about $620,000 in value. The city would receive about $175 from you.
Annually?
Correct.
Okay.
And so if you saw a 20% increase in that, that would be roughly $34 of an increase that we would receive.
Okay, so $34 annually is what.
On top of the 175, correct?
So a little less than $3 a month.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
I want to comment on that. Let's not spend too much time on $34 a year if that's what you're proposing. Because at the end of the day, 90 mills, we're talking about 4 mills, and I don't know if we'll move the needle. We need the school district and others to weigh in on deferring theirs to make any impact on the community. So I don't know how much effort I would be in agreement to spend on trying to delay our windfall of $34 on average per house. So is that what you're asking, John?
Yeah, Bob, my point is, I think there's, this property tax thing is largely in flux. There's, will be a measure on the ballot this fall. Who knows how that'll come out, and that things will become clearer as we go. I'm speaking of it from a philosophical point of view of with this dramatic increase that people are going to feel, and granted, as I said before, the amount of property tax the city collects is rather small of the total amount of property tax that people pay. But the concept of the city taking this extra property tax over time and softening the blow for homeowners, I think makes a difference. And Ms. Simpson says that it's $3 a month. Okay, it may only be $3 a month increase. I mean, the total amount the city gets, of course, is more than that. But when you get to people who are on the edge, people on a fixed income, people who spend every penny they've got every month, every bit is significant. And I'm not presupposing that we do anything specifically. I just wanted to put this out there at this time as we're talking about property tax and as we're talking about our forecasts going forward with property tax, that this is an opportune time for us to just introduce this into the discussion, and over time, as it's appropriate, I would advocate that we have this discussion as part of our budget process, as we're learning about our budget and as we're proposing our budget to go forward.
Yeah, I hear you. Just premature right now. I think with not having council to have this type of discussion, we should wait till after November 1. And 2, on the end of the day, even if we waive ours, I don't think anyone would even know that anything even happened. So it's more sounds like just a olive branch to something of nothing. So I'd just rather wait till after November, and we'll decide what the electors say.
I agree. I would like to see what happens with the ballot in November before we continue with this.
We're happy to keep council up to speed about what we learn over the next few months. We have meetings with both Jeffco and Adams that will be working on projected revenues based upon whether the ballot issue goes through and whether it doesn't go through, and then whether it's approved and not approved. So we're happy to keep council abreast of all of that.
Very good. Go ahead.
Looking a little deeper into sales tax, the wholesale merchandisers are down just a little bit from last year, so we are watching that. As we talked about, the full-service restaurants they're still up a little bit, but they have come down quite a bit from 2022. So we are seeing them, slow down as far as use there. Liquor stores are also down. Those are some of the other ones that we had on the watch list. And hardware stores are down almost 7% from last year. This slide just is another way to look at the sales tax over time and what the changes have been. As you can see, supermarkets and grocery stores are still doing really well. Wholesale merchandisers, as we said, have come down a little bit.
I have a quick question. So interesting that the cable subscription is going up, because I thought that was a dying revenue stream, and you can even see the trends. We're kind of floundering a little bit, and then all of a sudden it pops up this year. I just always watch that one, because is that just taxes on cable?
Yeah, that has a lot to do with some one-time activity that's going on in the city, and so we will expect that number to return back to a dying number.
Okay, all right. I was just wondering if something was changing or if our franchise fees were increasing too.
Not as of right now. We talked about auto use tax a little bit. We are seeing this pull back. It has decreased 3.5% since last year. We do expect this to make budget. It'll probably just make budget as of at this time. We are continuing to monitor that, though, through the year.
What do the colors mean?
Those are the months each year.
Okay.
So the green bar that you see in 2023, that's through June. So if you look at the green bar in the other years, that would be equivalent for the first 6 months of the year. We talked a little bit about general use tax. We are seeing that come down also from last year, about 2.9%. We are continuing to monitor this one. This one, too, is probably going to be right at budget for the year. As far as other funds, you can see that we have quite a few monitors, a couple warnings. Community development, we have a monitor on revenues. The reason why we have that is we have restructured the essential home repair program and are using a third party to run that program. As that program is being built, we have not seen grant reimbursement yet, as that program is just getting up and running. So we will see this come back, through the year, but however, we will continue to monitor that. The Housing Authority has a monitor on expenditures. We are seeing increased rental costs. We are also helping more families this year than we did last year, which is great. So we are continuing to monitor the expenditures there. We've talked a little bit about capital projects and the expenditures and the warning there. Again, we're seeing increased costs, so we are continuing to really watch that and monitor the costs there. Water, we have a monitor on revenues. This is due to, revenues are down from last year due to the wet spring and early summer. We'll see how third quarter comes in now that we've had, a swing back and pretty hot days. Expenditures, we also have a monitor there. Again, a lot of this has to do with their capital expenditures and the costs that we're seeing there. Wastewater, we have a monitor on expenditures for the same reason as water, and all of their capital expenditures and monitoring the increases there. And stormwater is the same on expenditures. Solid waste, while we have positives on both the revenues and expenditures, we do continue to monitor this fund. It is still a newer fund. We are monitoring it as for year to date just to keep abreast of what's going on in that fund. We did just have the increase to the Republic contract, so we are going to continue to monitor that fund. Risk management, expenditures is there. We are seeing increases in claims for liability and property, so we are monitoring that, and again, we are monitoring their year-to-date fund balance because of those increased items. Okay. Investments, our investment portfolio, I just want to remind council that our objectives are safety, liquidity, and risk in that order. Our current portfolio yield is below our benchmark, and that's because on the city's portfolio, we hold those investments to maturity. We don't trade them. So we will see a lower interest yield there. The PFM portfolio is a little bit lower as well. They will trade and not hold those investments to maturity. We do have some older items in that portfolio as well. So we will, as things roll off, we will see that come up. The overall portfolio increased about 19 million over the last year. And then we always like to show you our A to triple B rated investments, just to keep an eye on this. As you can see, those are investment grade investments yet, and they are all very good names.
Thank you, Deb. So the last section we're going to go over is around grants. So this was one of the topics that council wanted to get more information on. And so what you see over the next few pages are the listing of the grants that we've done 4 different things with. So number 1, preparation. What does that mean? These are grants that we have agreed that we're going to go after, and we're in the process of writing the grant. Pending are areas where we have applied for the grant, but don't know if we're going to get awarded or rejected. And then obviously rejected and awarded are as they are described. I do have some exciting news. Since we put this presentation together, we did find out that DRCOG awarded us the grant for the 64th Parkway multimodal improvement. So that's very exciting. That's a $1 million grant. And so that's on line 5 there. That should change from pending to awarded. So very excited news. We found out about that last Thursday. And so you can see the team has been very active in the grant arena this year. Again, this is only 2023. This does not represent any prior years.
Brian, can I ask you a quick question, if you don't mind going back?
Yes, Councilmember Marion,
one
sorry.
more back. The one that was rejected, the waive tap fees for legacy, was that to replace service lines in the city that were lead or galvanized?
No,
Okay.
that was to offset the housing development for legacy.
Oh, okay, got it. Okay.
That was to get some support for
Yep.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And so if there's no other questions, this is just a summary of those grants for this year. We will continue to bring this forth each and every quarter.
So I do have a question, Brian, about this particular slide. So when we're awarded a grant, almost always it comes with some kind of a
Absolutely.
match that can vary greatly. Do we know of the ones that we have been awarded, it's a couple $1 million, what the required match or the required spending on our side is, what that equates to?
We absolutely do. I do not have that information for you tonight. Most of them average 20%. So, for example, if we talk about the 64th Parkway, that is a $1 million award, requires a $200,000 contribution from our side. We have those funds in our CIP. They will then be earmarked to that grant.
Right.
If you would like to see what the city's required match is on the award, we'd be happy to bring that back.
Yeah, I don't think it's necessary. I think just having a ballpark of what it is.
Average is 20%.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
Yeah, I think that's a great new addition. I think it was Mr. Pfeiffer that was really pushing for getting that information, so I think that's a great addition.
Thank you.
Yeah, and maybe that's what we can add is what is our contribution
Sure.
on the line? Because I know like Dr. Cog, on some of them, the more you up your contribution,
Absolutely.
the better chances of you getting it.
And that is true. On some of these grants, our match is as much as 100%. We're matching
Dollar for
equal to
dollar.
what they are doing, yes.
Yeah, so it might be good to see that.
Sure, happy to do that.
I'm
Thank
glad,
you.
obviously you're not going to do it if you didn't have the money to match it, so it's good.
I don't see any other questions. Thank you for the presentation and the update, and
Thank you.
we'll urge citizens to go out and spend money, and people who come to visit in Arvada to spend money as well.
And I forgot to say, this is available online for anybody that would like to review it, so thank
Very
you.
good. We'll move on to public comment. I have one individual that signed up. Public comment is an opportunity for you to tell us what's on your mind. We don't get into a debate with you at this time. We simply listen attentively to what you've got to say, and if it needs some follow-up, somebody from the city team will get back to you. So Judy Dane. Good evening.
Thank you, council members, for the opportunity to speak today. I'm Judy Dane, and I live in the Caramar subdivision in unincorporated Jeffco. Today, I would like to speak to you about the Logistics Distribution Center plan for the property on the western end of Hyatt Lake. The property is surrounded by City of Arvada residents, mostly in District 4, and the heavy truck traffic will affect the City of Arvada streets. As a logistics center, we can expect numerous heavy vehicles, including tractor trailers, continuously moving goods into and out the 3 very large state-of-the-art automated robotic warehouses. The industrial site is surrounded by residential communities, and the City of Arvada citizens will be exposed to very loud trucking center noise. All over the city, we are seeing a noise ordinance sign go up on the street. Probably seen this, they're going up everywhere. I congratulate the artists. The sign exudes the same emotion of Munch's The Scream painting. Excessive noise is an environmental injustice and health hazard, and our government should protect the community from preventable and unacceptable noise emissions. You don't even have to look up the ordinance by the numbers to know that this sign means be quiet, respect your neighbors. My question is how the City of Arvada will enforce the ordinance. The ordinance says for properties on the border of different districts, the City of Arvada rule takes precedence. The grade up the hill on McIntyre is steep, and the grade into the facility is almost 6%. The sound of the semi-truck engines idling, accelerating, and braking up and down the hill at 64th and McIntyre will likely exceed the ordinance. However, there is one aspect of the noise from a trucking center that stands out, and that's backup alarms. The alarms are required by OSHA as a warning. This noise is exempt from most regulations. Construction noise is also exempt and is loud 24/7. With over 140 truck bays on the site plan, we expect there will be more than 1,000 tractor trailers coming into and out of the operation over each 24-hour period. That design means every truck that has to come in will have to back up at least once for an estimated 30 to 60 seconds. The beepers are designed to get your attention. A backup beeper on a modern semi-truck is 90 to 97 decibels. It's not a noise you can ignore, and the development has zoning approval to operate 24/7. If we do the math and assume the truck trips are dispersed over a 24-hour period, as residents, we can expect to hear a backup alarm once to one every 2 minutes around the clock. And there's no doubt, as residents, we will hear each and every backup alarm. We ask the city to review this project in its entirety and consider the impacts to your constituents. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Is there anybody else that would like to address City Council during this time? Seeing none, I'll close the public comment portion. Just as, for the record, indicate that this is not a City of Arvada project. However, we will have an opportunity to provide comments as part of the review process, and I'm sure that council and the city team will take the comments that we're receiving in public comment as something that we'll pass on to the county commissioners as they review this project. Okay, for the consent agenda, we just have a couple of items. The first is R-23077, which is a resolution approving the First Amendment to the agreement between the City of Arvada and SEMA Construction for the construction manager general contractor construction package number 2. And the second one is a resolution approving the First Amendment to an employment agreement by and between the City of Arvada and Lori B. Gillis as city manager. Mr. Marriott?
Thank you, Your Honor. I move that consent agenda items R-23-077 and R-23-065 both be approved.
Motions for approval. All votes are cast. That passes 5-0 with Randy Mormon and Lisa Ferre being approved absences. Thank you. Mr. Mayor Pro Tem, you've got a lengthy first reading.
Yes, I do. I move that Council Bill 23-021, an ordinance amending various sections of Chapter 102, Utilities, of the Arvada City Code pertaining to system development charges, be approved on first reading, ordered published in full, and a public hearing set for September 11th, 2023 at 6:15 p.m.
Motions for approval on first reading. All votes are cast. That passes 5-0, Mr. Mormon and Ms. Ferre being excused absences. Thank you. Open the public hearing on Council Bill 23-020, an ordinance repealing and reenacting Section 1.5 general penalty, continuing violations of Chapter 1 general provisions of the Arvada City Code. And Janelle Miller, Assistant City Attorney, will be making this presentation.
Good evening, members of council. Just in brief, this ordinance is amending Section 1-5 of our city code. That specific section sets forth the maximum penalties that any person in the city of Arvada, if they're either found guilty or they plead guilty in our municipal court, that is what the judge can essentially impose as the maximum penalty. So in short, this ordinance does or makes 3 primary changes. The first being that it does raise the potential maximum penalty from 364 days from what we have right now, which is 180 days in jail. The second, it establishes potential penalties that's based on a defendant's age at the time of their conviction, rather at the time that they commit the offense. And it also clarifies penalties for juvenile offenders in the context of either contempt of court or failure to comply with a court order. What this ordinance does essentially is just bring us into compliance with state law. So this Arvada team does recommend that the City Council approve Council Bill 23-020, an ordinance repealing and reenacting Section 1-5, general penalty, continuing violations of Chapter 1, general provisions of the Arvada City Code.
Thank you. Is there any member of the public that would like to address the Arvada City Council on this matter? Seeing none, I'll close the public comment portion, open up for City Council questions or action. Mr. Pfeiffer.
I'll go ahead and make the motion if there's not any questions.
You may proceed.
All right. Get to the right page. I move that Council Bill 23-020, an ordinance repealing and reenacting Section 1-5, general penalty, continuing violations of Chapter 1, general provisions of the Arvada City Code, be approved on final reading number 4853 and order published by title only.
Motions for approval. That passes 5-0, Mr. Mormon and Ms. Ferre being excused absences. Thank you. We have another public comment portion that's for 5 minutes. Is there anyone that would like to address City Council at this time? Seeing none, I will close the public comment portion. Any council reports? No one is pushing their buttons, and there's no football game or anything tonight, so I don't know what. Ms. Gillis, do you have anything for us?
I do. Just a reminder that next week there will be 2 workshops, one on the pavement management program and then an update on regional homelessness. So it'll be a diverse and broad discussion.
Thank you. Ms. Morris, anything from you?
Nothing from me, Your Honor.
Very good. We stand adjourned. Thank you all.